Hi, welcome to the Old Seminole Heights Neighborhood Association School Board District 5 candidate debate. I'm OSHNA Vice President Lynn Hertak. This debate is the second in a series of debates focused on August's primary elections. You can see last week's Board of County Commissioners District 3 debate on our website, oldseminoleheights.org, or on our Facebook page. Please tune in next week for the School Board District 7 debate on July 22nd at 6:30 p.m. Additionally, we have a series of short videos, including clips that the candidates have provided to share more about themselves. These videos are available on our YouTube channel and our Facebook page. Tonight, we are excited to welcome the 4 candidates for the School Board District 5 seat: Elvis Piggott, current board member Tamara Shamburger, Selena Ward, and Henry Shake Washington. Moderating tonight's event will be Creative Loafing's digital editor, Colin Wolf. Colin, thank you so much for being here tonight.
Thanks, Lynn. Thanks for having me. Welcome to the Old Seminole Heights Neighborhood Association's Board of County Commissioners District 3 debate. We appreciate the candidates' attendance tonight, and I know myself and Creative Loafing appreciate the chance to be here. These types of meetings are extremely important. A little bit of ground rules. Each candidate will have 1 minute to respond to questions asked of everyone. In addition, each candidate will receive a question specific to them and their experience. Welcome, candidates. You have 1 minute to introduce yourself. Let's start with Thomas Scott.
Wrong race.
Wrong race. Colin, you've got the wrong questions up.
Oh, shoot. Sorry. Hold on. Give me 1 sec. I can pull that up. My apologies, really blowing it here.
So we'll go ahead and we'll start. We'll let Selena Ward, if you can introduce yourself first.
Well, first of all, thank you so much. Thank you, Colin, for moderating, and Old Seminole Heights for hosting this event on this rainy evening. I am Selena Ward, and I'm a candidate for School Board District 5. I am an educator, a mother, a veteran, and a community volunteer. I am very excited to work together to build a better community and District 5 community school board. It is time that we have a leader that's approachable, accessible, and it is time that we collaborate and we have accountability. As many of you know, I have a 90-day plan very similar to something that our new superintendent rolled out, a 90-day plan which will set the tone for my leadership once I am elected your next school board member. Being approachable, accessible is very important. You want a leader that is there, visible in the schools, and that you can have contact with, because we know how important it is for you to contact your school board member. Collaboration, I look forward to creating 3 task forces that I will share more with you about tonight, and accountability. I know that you want your school board member and all your elected officials to be accountable. I will send a survey out to you because I understand that you are the high.
Okay, thank you so much. We'll move on to Shake Washington. You have 1 minute to introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm happy to be here today. I'm Henry Shake Washington. I'm running for School Board District 5. I'm married, have 2 children. I'm a veteran for 22 years in the Florida Army National Guard, and I also served over 40 years in the Hillsborough County Public School System. And I'm running tonight because I think it's important to have a leader in there who can relate and have the experiences that I've had all the way through the ranks from assistant teacher all the way up to a area superintendent. And I'm looking forward to working with District 5 so we can get equity. We want teacher quality, and we want community engagement. So thank you. That's what I'm doing.
Okay, great. Colin, are you ready?
I am, thank you.
Super.
Okay, let's move on here to Tamara.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Tamara Shamburger. I'm your current Hillsborough County School Board member for District 5. Thank you so much for hosting this informative forum tonight. I am the only candidate with experience that matters, experience that is making a difference. I've applied my knowledge as a school board member to move District 5 forward. We've made great impact over the last 4 years. I'm proud that I've passed many policies unanimously that really has helped our community succeed. And I'm going to continue to do that over the next 4 years. You see, this is not time for training wheels. We need a school board member who understands this job. Tonight, you'll see that I'm the only candidate that can articulate the roles and responsibilities of being a school board member. And so over the next 4 years, I'm going to work hard for you. We're going to make an even bigger impact. But I look forward to discussing what is next over the course of this forum. Thank you so much for having me tonight.
Thank you, Tamara. And finally, Elvis.
How you all doing? I'm Elvis Piggott, running for Hillsborough County School Board District 5. Local pastor, 14 years. I've been an advocate for our students, our ESC students that have completely, I believe, been looked over, mistreated, and most definitely not had the wraparound services which they deserve. I'm running because I want to most definitely be an advocate, and I want to make sure that we have policies and procedures, and we're holding our superintendent accountable to carry out those policy and procedures within our district. And we must always remember, while we must focus on our community, we must also show the teachers the appreciation which they are due. And that's why I'm running for Hillsborough County School Board District 5. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Elvis. Okay, our first question for the night. There are 6 schools in Old Seminole Heights Neighborhood Association's boundaries. All 6 are Title I. At Hillsborough High, 70% of students are children from low-income families, and 97% of Cleveland Elementary are Cliff. What specific attention will you deliver to address the unique challenges of schools in Old Seminole Heights? Let's start with you, Sheikh.
Okay, first of all, I think it's important when we look at the students in Seminole Heights, we have to look at the pre-K, VPK, and elementary schools, because that's the part that's most important. To have those students being able to read and write, because you have VPK, you have kindergarten, and you have first and second grade. We need to get the kids when they're in that lower grade level so we can help them in their reading and responsibility. And we need to get the community involved in those schools, because when the community is involved in those schools, they do much better. But the data say they do much better when the community is involved with those schools and in that area. And that's what I plan to do.
Great, thank you. And moving on to you, Elvis.
Yes, thank you for the question. With those schools in Seminole Heights, they have a program, and they have a community program there, which is led by Try. Really try to focus on the schools, help in Great American Teaching. And when there was a Teacher Appreciation Week, young lady that most definitely focused in trying to make sure the teachers in Seminole Heights are appreciated, et cetera. I think that we have to most definitely be able to understand what the challenges are with those students within that area. And really within our area, and they're most definitely wanting to find out the challenges that our community is facing with our young people. In the elementary school, in the middle school, and high school, it's very important that we are engaged with our students. And I believe that I want to start an approach to find out what is it that the students need to get to the students to get to the next level. We can constantly talk about things that we want to do and how we want to do this, but without having that parent involvement, we got to make sure that we get good parent involvement and we get the students to be able to respond with how can we help them.
Okay, thank you. And moving on to Selena Ward.
Yes. So the first thing you gave was statistics, and you did say that those were Title I schools. Title I schools receive additional funding. The first thing I would do is make sure that we were using our funding for those schools correctly and providing resources that were greatly needed. All the other candidates have spoke about some great resources. I would like to include in that some additional tutoring, after school programs, and whatever we need to make sure that whatever is missing, that we're using that Title I money to supply those needs, as well as collaboration is something that I'm a big fan of. So I would also want to collaborate within the community to make sure that we had partners to fill those gaps of much needed resources and involvement from parents and the community by having partnerships. Thank you.
Great, thank you. And finally, Tamara.
Yeah, thank you for the question. So the responses you've heard already are that of an administrator. I want to be very clear that this is a school board race. School board responsibilities are very different than that of an administrator. School board members do not deal in the day-to-day operations of the district. As a school board member, what I have done and what I will continue to do is to hold the superintendent accountable for those results. We want to make sure that we're not implementing any cookie cutter systems and that there is equity in these schools. We have to continue systemically to make sure that we're addressing any gaps in education, especially at the early childhood level. I tell you, our Seminole Heights schools actually perform relatively well compared to most District 5 schools. But I'm going to hold the superintendent accountable to make sure that we're getting the results we need. Every school in District 5, especially our lowest performing district, must be a high achieving and performing schools. And I'm going to stand next to the superintendent and make sure he does that. It is his responsibility to lift these schools, and I'm going to hold him to that, as I have done.
Thank you, Tamara. Thank you for your responses, candidates. This next question is specifically for Elvis Piggott. How do you take small programs like Gentlemen Scholars and Elite Men of Tomorrow and expand them to provide support to a larger cross-section of the student populations?
I think the way that you do that is finding out when you're dealing with the Title I schools also that you mentioned within Seminole Heights. I think the way that you expand that is getting into those schools and working with those administrators and finding out, is that a program? Because again, these programs can't be implemented or pushed without the teachers and without the administrators. So that program was started in both of those programs in the elementary school as well as a high school. And what that was is simply that principal realized that she had a certain group of kids, both principals, that they wanted to target to see could they help and save before they got to the place where their grades had declined and they started making bad decisions. And so at that moment, that's when we merged together to come up with something that we can work with and make sure that our young men and our young ladies is thriving and pushing to become better and give them something to look forward to, incentivizing them to understand that they not just coming to school because school is not built for everyone, but giving them a reason to know why they're there and working with them and teaching them the etiquettes and the integrity and the character that they need for life. And I think the way that you spread that out and make sure that all of us working with those administrators and those teachers in the schools that need it the most.
Thank you. This next question is for all the candidates. Pride in Neighborhood is built in part by students attending their neighborhood school as opposed to attending a charter or private school. How do we encourage parents to send their child to schools here in Old Seminole Heights and keep that per pupil spending in the neighborhood? Let's start with you, Tamara.
Great question. First and foremost, as a school board member, it is my job to work along with the superintendent to ensure that our public schools are the first and best choice for our families. In fact, 90% of all students in Hillsborough County are actually educated in Hillsborough County public schools. So we're doing a good job at that. And in order for us to make our schools the first and the best choice for our families, we need to make sure, one, that our schools are performing better than those other schools. We need to make sure we have great choices for our students through our magnet programs, and also that we have different course offerings as well. And we have to also make sure that our school facilities are nice. Many parents will choose charter simply because the school is better. But we certainly have the best teachers in Hillsborough County right here in the traditional public school system. But working to make sure our schools are chosen first is our paramount duty.
Thank you, Tamara. Selena Ward, same question.
Yes, thank you so much for that question. The first thing that is very important is making sure that we have pride in our neighborhood schools. As a mother, you don't want to send your child to a school that is not up to date, that is not equipped. We have to make sure that our schools are presentable, clean, and safe. That's very important when a parent is making a decision on where they want to send their child. Now, I understand the role of a school board member, but I also understand the needs of the community. And the community wants a person that is present. We have to make sure that we understand our neighborhood, that we understand the community's wants, and our school provides that. We are all neighbors. We live in the same neighborhoods. We must make sure that these schools are performing and that they are safe and clean, and they are a vital option for our neighbors to send their school to our neighborhood Hillsborough County school first. And that should be the first choice, always. Thank you.
Thank you, Selena. Same question, Elvis.
I would say very clear. Whenever a individual is moving to an area, a neighborhood, first thing they do is pull up the grade of the school. And I think at the end of the day, if we want to really push our neighborhood schools, we have to, as a board member, be very intentional about how we're spending funds, how we're creating a safe learning environment for our kids. But most of all, how are we working with the superintendent to make sure that the superintendent is putting our schools at the focal point of getting them to a better place? Our superintendent have to know that we cannot allow the failing schools, or it's not okay and it's not becoming just a norm. If all of these 5 schools, which we talked about, which is Title I schools, we have a problem already. We need to focus more on those schools. We need to make sure that the superintendent is focusing on those schools, and we need to make sure that we're intentional about resources. We're intentional about wraparound services. We're intentional about the teachers we're retaining for these schools, and get the school grade to the place where when you pull that school up before you ever get to Seminole Heights and become a resident of Seminole Heights, you're proud to call that home.
Thank you, Elvis. And lastly, Sheikh.
Yes, what we need to do is improve our schools. And the way we improve our schools is by getting good leadership in there, outstanding principals, administrators, efficient and effective teachers in there, and having the community, the open door for the community so they can come in. Because so many times what we do is we block out the community, and you can never be successful as a school if you're blocking out the community. The community has to come in there. You got outstanding teachers, you got equipment, and the school itself, the equity of the school. We got to have something that's really nice for parents to come. You want the parents to have input. You want the community to have input. And that's one of the ways how you improve schools, especially in a community that's well known in that area. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheikh. This next question is specifically for Selena Ward. With more than 15,000 teachers, 25,000 staff members, and 250 schools in the district, how do you plan on populating your task forces within your self-imposed 90-day plan?
Oh, thank you so much for that question. So the reason I want to do task force is because often the school board members don't get to hear from the community other than open forum. So I want to populate those task force throughout the community. And there's a teacher task force, a staff task force, and a community task force. Each of them will have a set date that they meet. I'm talking fast because we only have a minute. And they will then meet. That will be broadcast across the district. Everyone will be invited, and it will be an opportunity to meet and discuss agenda items and specific needs. And then I will come in quarterly and address those needs and concerns and take them back to the other school board members. Thank you so much for that question.
Thank you. This next question is for everyone. If you had to make a choice right now and had children in the house, would you send them to school under the current pandemic plan? Why or why not? Elvis, let's start with you.
He may be dealing with his accident.
I think he did. Yes, he did.
Let's come back to Elvis. Let's move on to Tamara.
Yes. So as a COVID survivor, my perspective is a little different than others. And this is a conversation that I have daily as a current school board member, not only with the superintendent, but thousands of constituents. And my daughter is graduated. She's already out of high school. But if I had children in school currently, I would not send my child right now to school under the current conditions unless I had a guarantee that my child was safe and that all safeguards were put in place, including social distancing, PPE, making sure that the schools are going to be properly sanitized, and making sure that there was a continuity plan just in case someone did, turn up positive with the COVID. And so tomorrow I look forward to having this very public discussion with the community about what that really looks like. But until there's some safeguards in place, I'm not in agreement with the governor's or the Commissioner of Education's executive order to open on August the 10th. I think we need to open, our target shouldn't be a calendar date. It should be a time when it's safe for everyone to return. Every life of every student and every staff member is more important than us trying to target a date.
Thank you for that. Sheikh, same question.
Yes, no, I would not send my kid to school because we don't have any concrete organization as of now. And we need to have some type of concrete organization so we'll know exactly what to do. We are in a standstill. You know, some say go to school, some say don't go to school. We need to have something concrete because safety comes first, not only for students, but for teachers also. You know, you got teachers involved in that. And you got support personnel. All those people is involved in that. And we need to have something concrete so when they do come to school, it'll be safety will be first. As of now, we're not following the CDC rules. We're not experts. I mean, I'm not a doctor, so I can't determine what's going to happen. And I think what's most dangerous about it, we don't have a vaccine or a cure for it. So, and it responds differently to different people. So we need to look closely at this, get a lot of input from the parents, from the community, and then decide what we're going to do with experts first, though. Take the word of the experts. I think then we'll be able to open up the schools.
Thank you, Sheikh. And some questions, Selena.
Yes, well, I'm a mother of 3. So right now, no, I would not send them back. And the first reason I would not send them back is because our schools, unfortunately, were not clean before COVID. I was in the school substituting, and I saw that we didn't have soap, we didn't have sanitizer, we often didn't have toilet paper before COVID. So we need to hear from the district that we have some clean schools, some sanitized schools, and that our kids are going to be safe and healthy. That's the first thing we all want to hear now, for our students, for our teachers, for everyone involved. And like I said, COVID is bringing the light to all of this. But unfortunately, our schools were not clean before COVID. So it's time that we have sanitary, safe, clean schools for our students, regardless of COVID.
Thanks, Selena. Elvis, I'm not sure if you heard that question.
I did.
You did? Okay.
I did not. Could you repeat it for me?
Oh, sorry. In the current situation, would you feel safe sending your own kids back to school?
Most definitely not. It's very disturbing, period, that we are even having this conversation. I think our kids is most definitely not lab rats. Our kids is valuable. I don't think that we should, even knowing that if it's rising and it's spiking the way it is, that we should be encouraging everyone to stay safe. And I heard some of the other candidates speak also concerning our teachers. Our teachers, when we're talking about making things feasible for parents and making sure that we consider the desires of parents, our teachers are also in that equation. Our teachers are parents. Our teachers do have kids that they have to make decisions for as well. And so we also have to remember that our kids going to school could also bring detriment to them coming home to grandma. A lot of our kids in District 5 is staying with their grandparents. They're staying with elderly people. And it's a disgrace and a dishonor to our families for us to have this conversation and be willing to put the lives of the kids' family in jeopardy in this situation. So I think it's a bad decision, and we should not do that until we prepare for it.
Thank you, Elvis. This next question is for Sheikh. Your services ranging from instructional assistant to area superintendent. Is it possible to enact policy that leaves every district employee satisfied with their job?
Repeat that, please.
Is it possible to enact policy that leaves every district employee satisfied with their job? Giving you a background.
No, it's not. It's not because all jobs, because the employees' jobs are different, and you can't enact one policy for everybody in some cases because there's different needs for different people. So when we put in a policy, you could have a policy, but everybody's not going to be happy. Because during my course of the years, even as a principal, when we enacted policies, we had to make occasion the best interest of the situation we are in. So that's why a lot of times you can't make a policy to cover everybody, because it should be in the best interest of the students. When you make policy, whatever you do, put students first. And then you can make I think you'll make a positive policy.
Thank you, Shay. This next question is for everyone. School board service in Florida is a part-time job, and Hillsborough County Public School Board members meet just twice a month, but are responsible for a $3 billion budget. For the second time in 6 years, a major act of deficit spending appears to have snuck past the board and depleted the reserve fund. Hillsborough County has fewer school board members than any other major school district in the United States. Every other district its size that elects school board members has at least 9 members. Is it time to increase the size of the school board to reflect the size of the district? And if so, should the new seats be geographic or at large? Let's start with you, Tamara.
Yeah, thank you for the question. First, let me clarify something. The current budget deficit that we're facing was not snuck past the board. Let's be very clear about that. It was misrepresented or not represented at all to the board. In terms of the size of the school board, 7 school board members representing Hillsborough County is a little short. I tell you, as a single member district, District 5 representative, I have the largest single member district in all of the school board. In fact, I represent over 70 schools representing 60,000 students, where most board members are only representing 30 or 35 schools. And so certainly just my District 5 alone could be split into 2. I think that most large counties have 9 board members. I think that would fare well, just so that we can be more intentional around our work. Being a District 5 school board member is not easy because of the vast size of the work that you have to deal with. But I do agree with expanding the sizes of the board. I think regardless of what seat you're in, you represent all students in Hillsborough County Public Schools. So at-large or single member really doesn't make a difference, but I would not be opposed to expanding the board.
Thank you. Same question, Elvis?
If you could repeat that for me, I was just getting out. If you could repeat that question for me, I appreciate it.
Do you think Hillsborough County School District should have more members and expand it given its size? And do you think that should be chosen by geographic or at large?
Well, I think I mean, with our current situation, when it comes down to budgets, when it comes down to the taxpayers, we just spent all of, I believe, 2018 pushing for a tax referendum to be able to get things done for the schools, to get air conditions and to make sure that the schools can be up in a good place for our kids to learn and teachers can teach. I really believe that if we're not budgeting appropriately and efficiently now, I really would be opposed to causing taxpayers more money to expand the board, because that is also 2 more salaries that will have to be paid. And that's got to come again from the taxpayers. So I think I would be more opposed to expanding, but I think that decision will have to come strongly with the community input, just like the tax referendum. And if they're for it, I'm for it.
Thank you, Elvis. Same question, Selena.
Yes, well, you gave some numbers at the very beginning, and for a district our size, you see across the nation 9. So I would be for it, yes. The incumbent even just spoke about how large District 5 is and how this district alone could easily be split up into 2. Also, we look across the county and we see a lot of growth in our rural areas. That also includes more students, more schools. So I believe it's important that we have board members that are able to work effectively and that they have a fair amount of students that they represent in schools across the district. Now, I too am not going to say whether it should be district or should be at large, but I think we need to look at the growth of our county, which Tampa, Hillsborough County is growing very quickly, and make sure that we have the adequate amount of school board members that represent our students, our schools, our teachers, and our staff in our community. I think that's very important. And statistically, 9 is something that you would see for a school board our size, a district our size. Thank you.
Thank you. Same question, Sheikh.
Yes, I really would like to see the school board with 9, but I would like to see the school board with 9 with diversity. we would have to work out and have diversity, because the way it is now, we need more diversity on that school board. And if we did do the 9, then it would be fantastic, it'd be really good with diversity. Because first of all, being a school board member is a full-time job. It really is a full-time job. It's hard to do that as a part-time job, because the district itself has become so large until you have a lot of students in your specific district, and you got to listen to the voice of the community. I mean, you have to have meetings in the community. You have to deal with an array of problems in the district. So I would go along with having a larger district, but more diversity on that board, and which I think it would be very important, because we need to represent the students on the school board.
Thank you, Sheikh. This next question is for Tamara. What were you unable to achieve during your first term on the board that you aim to accomplish now if reelected?
Thank you for the question. Honestly, I achieved far more than I expected I would. Becoming a new school board member is an extensive learning curve. It generally takes you a full 4 years to really grasp and understand the complexity of this position. But in my first 4 years, I was able to pass many policies unanimously. I was able to help hire the superintendent for the 7th largest school district. I've made great strides in District 5, and I tell you, moving forward, 2020 and beyond is when the real show will begin. Now that I have a great understanding of how this position works and what the district is about, we're really going to make an impact moving forward. So honestly, I didn't expect to be so far along given the complexity of the job. And I'm happy to say that I have far exceeded even my own expectations. 2020 and beyond will be even greater.
Thank you. This next question is for the field. Over the past few days, teachers across Tampa Bay have been picketing over fear of returning to school in the fall. What should be done about teachers and staff who feel unsafe returning to work in the physical environment? Selena, let's start with you.
Well, first of all, this is a very new territory, and no one has dealt with COVID. Teachers should feel safe. And if they don't feel safe, that's an issue. We're dealing with this not only in Hillsborough County, COVID is across this country. Teachers need to feel safe. They have their own families to take care of. They have their own lives to worry about. So we need to make sure that we're making decisions to not only bring back the students to a safe environment, but to bring the teachers back to a safe environment. And we're communicating that message clearly to them so they don't have to feel the need to have so much uncertainty and worry. So we definitely need to listen to them and make sure that they feel good about coming back. And they deserve to feel good about coming back.
Thank you. Same question, Sheikh.
Yes, I think teachers should be heard because they should follow the CDC guidelines, which is very important. If I was a teacher, I'd be curious about coming back to school too, also, because we don't have anything secure. We don't have anything safe. So teachers need to have that security just like anybody else. And they need to have their questions answered. To me, that's the most important. If teachers have questions about safety, the safety should be answered by the administration. And it should be a concrete answer, and it should be an answer geared to the CDC and the health experts.
Thank you, Sheikh. Tamara, same question.
Yeah, I think that question, the answer is very simple. We must listen to the voices. We must listen to our teachers. Teachers are extremely critical in this district, and we must listen to what their needs are before moving forward with reopening our schools. I tell you, currently I'm receiving about 100 emails every single day, 7 days a week from teachers expressing concerns, things from underlying health conditions, what will happen if a child is sick. They talk about things that they need in order to feel safe and comfortable with returning to the classroom, if they even want to return to the classroom, because many are just simply afraid to do so. And I tell you, as a school board member, it is my job to advocate on their behalf. I've listened to them. I will continue to listen to them. And whatever it is that they need to feel safe so that they can continue to prepare our students for life, I'm going to absolutely advocate for.
Thank you. And finally, Elvis.
Yes, I can tell you the teachers should be respected. As a board member, with the same superintendent that we hired, I really believe that that same superintendent have to be held accountable. I'm very concerned with many teachers that reached out to me to tell me about this letter of intent that gave them in the beginning 3 options. One of those options was return back to brick and mortar. Second option was to resign, or the third option was to take a leave of absence without pay. I think that's a slap in the teacher's face. I think that's completely inappropriate. And as a board member, I would have called our superintendent out on it, and he would have had to have a conversation, because I don't think that's treating our teachers the way they should be treated. And when we're talking about retention, retaining good teachers in our district, that most definitely is the message we want to send. And I think that we should have made the teacher, and we should make our teachers accountable and allow them to be expressive and allow them to say, hey, I have kids at home I want to worry about, and I don't want to come back. It's now added that they're able to have e-learning or virtual. Many are yet still thinking about, if they take e-learning or virtual, would they be put in the pool? Would they no longer have their job when they get ready to come back to the brick and mortar? Many things, unanswered things, need to be answered. And that's, our teachers deserve that.
Thank you. And our final question for the night: what is your plan to improve community involvement in the schools? Sheikh, let's start with you.
Okay, good. Okay, first of all, to improve community in the schools, we have to go out. And one thing that I always said, we need a parent liaison to be in that community, to be connected to the school. And I know we're talking about money, but sometimes in order to be successful in a school, you have to spend money for that school and that program, have parent liaison to be out in that community. And as a principal, you should be in that community, inviting people to come in that community, out trying to get partnerships, because that's what makes a school great. Getting partnerships in that community, out there meeting people, getting input from the parents, being in different organizations where people can know you and they trust you and they feel comfortable with you, and you have an open door policy. Not only you have open door policy, but your APs at your school, and also the social workers. You know, all those support personnel need to be out there. When you go out there, you should have your support personnel meeting people, because you know what's great about it? When you get out there and people trust you, when they really trust you and admire you, they'll do miracles for you.
Great, thank you, Sheikh. And same question, Tamara.
Yeah. First and foremost, you have to meet the community where they are. I'll tell you what I've done successfully as a Hillsborough County School Board member. Some of the things I've done is, for instance, I've hosted a family empowerment conference where we reached out to our most disengaged family members, and we brought them in and taught them how to be strong advocates on behalf of their students and how to navigate the system. I've also hosted many small group town hall sessions with community members at their local schools to keep them engaged as well. As a school board member, I advocated and had created our African American Outreach Coordinator position that led to our parent liaison positions being created, where they act as a bridge between the district and the community to help those who may have been harmed by education themselves reconnect with education. And I've also encouraged our current superintendent, Davis, to create our FACE department. That's a family and community engagement department.
Thank you. Same question, Elvis.
Okay.
We're going to be very intentional around making sure we keep our families in.
Can you repeat the question?
We're losing, I think we lost you a little bit there, Tamara. I'll come back to you at the end and let you finish that. Let's move on to Elvis. What is your plan to improve community involvement in the schools?
Well, as my experience, I've been pastoring for 14 years, and I've been pastoring in the community. I've been very on many scenes. We've been doing many things. And I think, as the current board member has said, we have to meet the community where they are. I think what's very important is that we get out in our community. We also let our community know that we're not just present when it's time for election. We're not just present when it's time for a vote, but we are present even after we are elected. I will be on the ground. I will be pulling business partners together. I will be doing what I do now, We've adopted a school. I will be working with the different outreach programs that is taking place, like Gentlemen Scholars, like Elite Men of Tomorrow, different things like Tribe. Those programs, great programs, but lack the support that they're looking for to continue to service our kids and our parents within our community. What would I do? Make sure that I stay involved in our communities.
Thank you, Elvis. Same question, Selena.
Approachable, accessible, and collaboration. Those are part of my 90-day plan. Those words didn't come from me. Those are the words that I heard from you, the community, when I was asking questions, talking about on the campaign trail. These are things that you said you want to see in your school board member. I understand the role of a school board member, but I understand the needs of this community. And they want someone who is on the ground. They want someone who is present in the schools. You want your school board members to show up at the schools, to know what's going on at the schools. You want them to host those small community meetings with task force where you can voice your concerns. These are all things that you've asked for. I will do those things, part of my plan, as well as collaborating with business partners, philanthropic community, all those things that we have here in the Tampa Bay area that can help contribute and make our schools better. These are all things I've heard from you, and I'm willing to do it. I understand that it's an additional part of my job, but I think it's what the community needs. And as your next board member, I will do that for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Selena. Tamara, we lost you in the last 30 seconds there. Would you like to finish that thought?
Yeah, I'm so sorry about that. Thank you so much. Let me just reiterate what I have done as a school board member in terms of engaging the community. Again, you have to meet the community where they are. I've hosted town hall meetings and parent community meetings at the football field because that's where the parents are. I've hosted small group town hall meetings at their local school in the cafeteria. I've hosted a parent engagement seminar where we engaged our most disengaged parents. I've created the African American Outreach Coordinator position in the district, which led to parent liaisons who also work to bridge the gap between the school district and our community. It helps those folks who are afraid of the education system, who've been wronged by the education system, who's afraid of the monster of the education system, now get re-engaged. And lastly, I have encouraged, and the superintendent did create, our family and community engagement department, an entire department dedicated to getting our community back invested in education. We're never going to change the results of low achieving District 5 without the community involved. It is my paramount duty. I am the longest residing resident of District 5 on this panel. I've been here for over 25 years. I know the needs of the community, and I'm going to help them get to where they need to be 2020 and beyond.
Thank you, Tamara. And thank you, everyone. We're going to wrap this up with the closings here. Each candidate will have a 1 minute to close. Elvis, let's start with you.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here to share with the community and most definitely to be here with OSHNA. I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the opportunity to be able to serve. I'm grateful for the campaign. It has been very eye-opening. It's been very informative. I really know that there's going to be a change. And I'm running for school board because I want to be that change. I want to be that voice that our community needs. I want to be the change that they deserve. I want to most definitely be the advocate that our teachers is looking for. I want to be that liaison with our students. I want to stand in the gap and make sure when it's all said and done that we are going to stop the systematic issues that's taking place and plaguing District 5. The lack of resources, it's got to stop. And most definitely, as I always believe, and I say it, all experience is not good experience. And so I encourage that we go out, look at Elvis for School Board, Elvis, the number 4 schoolboard.com, check our platform, what we are going to do, things that we're going to make happen. And don't be fooled because just because, again, we have certain experience, don't mean that you was on the right side of the right experience.
Thank you, Elvis. Moving on to Selena.
And I'm not going to spend a lot of time in my closing night using buzzwords or giving you ideas. I think you know that. I've spent a lot of time last week really thinking about the why. Why am I running for school board? Why am I really doing this? And you know what? It's very simple. I care. I care about the community. I care about our students. I care about our schools. And that's why I'm doing it. And I believe that that's very important, that when you're choosing your next person for the school board, that you are sure that you're choosing a person that has your student, your child's best interest in mind, as well as the community, the teachers, the involvement, parental involvement, that is their first and main goal. That's important to me. I know that this is going to take a lot of work. It's not a part-time job. I'm committed and I'm ready to work. You can visit my website to find out more at voteselenaward.com. You can call me at 813-444-5872 if you want to just talk to me and learn more. But I want you to remember to vote early, vote by mail, vote August 18th, stay healthy, be safe, and regardless, win, lose, or draw, I will always continue to work in this community. And I want to say congratulations to everyone who is running for school board, because it's a courageous thing to do. And we all are in this because we want our community to be better. And I look forward to being a part of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Selena. And moving on to you, Sheikh.
Yes. First of all, I think I'm the best person for this job because I'm approachable. I listen with empathy. I have experience. I love my community. This is not new to me in the community. I've been in the community. I never left the community. This is what I do. I love my community, and I love people. I want the students to be successful because I think every student should have a high school diploma. Every student should have a high school diploma. This is the goal when you go to school. So we're going to work at that. And I want people to know I'm here for you, and I'm going to do what's best. I'm going to listen with empathy. I'm going to understand you. I'm going to work hard for you every day. And I want you to go to www.shakeforschoolboard.com. And remember this, let's shake it up. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheikh. And lastly, Tamara.
Yeah, thank you so much for this amazing forum tonight. Listen, anyone who says that buzzwords are being used is someone simply who cannot articulate the issues in the district. We don't need a candidate who needs training wheels. We need a candidate with tried and true leadership. Our students are the most vulnerable. Our employees are the most vulnerable in District 5. We need a candidate who has proven results. And of course, I'm the only candidate with experience with proven results. I don't have to tell you what I will do. I don't have to tell you what I think needs to be done. I can show you black and white what has been done. And I'm going to continue that leadership and be an advocate and a fighter for our community 2020 and beyond. And with the new superintendent at the helm, it is more important than ever that we keep consistent and confident leadership on this board. We can't have a new school board member and a new superintendent, not with so much at stake for our students of District 5. I don't have to give you my phone number. You know how to reach me. I am very accessible and have worked closely with this community. You know how to find me. But if you want to know more about my candidacy, you can find more information at www.keeptamara.com. I look forward to serving you for another 4 years, sitting on more porches in Seminole Heights and talking about education. There is simply no other choice. Re-elect Tamara Shamburger for School Board District 5.
Thank you, Tamara. And thank you to all the candidates.
Thank you.